What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 waiver wire additions for your leagues in week 6 of the fantasy football season, and a couple stashes you could throw on the end of your bench if you have some bench space that have high upside. So without wasting any more time, let's hop right into the video. Now, the first player that I want to talk about is going to be Roschon Johnson, running back for the Chicago Bears, and he's currently being rostered in about 41% of leagues, and he left a game with a concussion in week 4 of the fantasy football season, so he didn't get to play in week 5, but what happened in week 5 is what's making him the most relevant for me this week and makes him my number 1 pickup of the week, and that's that Khalil Herbert suffered an ankle injury that most likely will land him on IR. Nothing confirmed yet, but it does look like that might be the route that the Bears go with Khalil Herbert injury. And this Bears offense has gotten hot lately. They have scored 68 points over the last 2 games. There's been plenty of fantasy football points to go around, and the hope here is that Roschon Johnson will get to be the main guy for this offense. He does have a decent stretch here that he can do that, and the hope is that while Khalil Herbert is allowing that ankle injury to heal, take some time off from the game, that Roschon Johnson will get that starting job and he'll never give it back. That's really the hope for Roschon Johnson here. So he does have some upcoming matchups of the Minnesota Vikings, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Los Angeles Chargers, so some good matchups for him there, and he is going to be my number 1 waiver wire pickup of the week. Now, my second waiver wire pickup of the week is going to be Tyjae Spears, running back for the Tennessee Titans, and Spears had a great week 5. He did score 16.9 fantasy points, finishing this week as a running back 1 in fantasy football PPR leagues. Spears does look to be getting a little bit more involved, so it does look like he has some standalone value, especially in positive matchups. The only downside with Tyjae Spears is he does have some tougher matchups coming up over the next couple weeks, so he may not reach his full potential, at least in the short term. But with Tyjae Spears, if Derrick Henry were ever to get hurt, Spears has league-winning upside at the running back position, and so it makes him a must-add for me in fantasy football leagues. And like I said, he has some tough matchups. Those upcoming opponents are going to be the Baltimore Ravens, a bye week in week 7, and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the third player that I'm going to be adding in my fantasy football leagues is going to be Logan Thomas, tight end of the Washington Commanders, and Thomas had a really big game last week. He posted a 21.5% target share, 9 receptions, 77 receiving yards, and a touchdown for Logan Thomas in that game against the Bears. And Logan Thomas has been kind of sneaky so far this year. He's seen at least 8 targets in 2 of his last 4 games, and he's had 40 receiving yards or more in 3 of those 4 games as well. This Commanders offense seems to be improving a little bit more each and every week, and Thomas looks like he's starting to slowly become one of Sam Howell's favorite targets. I think if you pick up Logan Thomas, you can rely on him to be a tight end 1 over the next 3 weeks. He's playing some of the easiest tight end matchups in the NFL, those opponents being the Atlanta Falcons, the New York Giants, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, another player that I'm going to be adding in my fantasy football leagues is going to be Emari Demercado for the Arizona Cardinals. He's only being rostered in about 1% of leagues, so you can get him basically everywhere. And the reason we're picking him up is James Conner missed the second half of the game in week 5 due to a knee injury. Initial reports and all reports at the time of this recording make it seem like this isn't a very serious injury for James Conner. And while we don't necessarily expect James Conner to miss time, if he did, I really wouldn't view Demercado as more than an emergency flex option in my fantasy football lineups. The Arizona Cardinals have some tough matchups for running backs on the horizon, those opponents being the Los Angeles Rams, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the 5th and final ad that I'm going to be prioritizing on my rosters this week is going to be Josh Downs, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, and he's being rostered in about 9% of leagues, and also coming off of a great week in week 5 where he did command a 23% target share in a matchup versus the Tennessee Titans. And Downs seems like he is in full control of this slot wide receiver position over there in Indianapolis. There's a chance that we may have Gardner Minshew starting at the quarterback next week against Jacksonville, and hey, maybe it's a revenge game for Gardner Minshew, but this also profiles to be a good matchup for Josh Downs, as he should see a lot of coverage from Trey Herndon, who is giving up about a 78.9% catch rate to wide receivers, and I think Downs can be picked up and played as a flex option in any format this week. Downs has some upcoming matchups of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Cleveland Browns, and the New Orleans Saints. Now, I will say that this isn't a great week for waiver wire pickups. I do like Roschon Johnson, Tyjae Spears, and Logan Thomas, but outside of that, I wouldn't be blowing a lot of fab or using my waiver priorities on any of these guys. But I also wanted to give you guys 5 stashes that I think you can put on the end of your bench if you have the bench space. I know it may be hard with some upcoming bye weeks, but I think you should be rostering these guys because they have high upside in case of injury or other factors in the NFL. These players that I'm going to be stashing are going to be Tank Bigsby, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars, being rostered in about 30% of leagues. Rico Dowdle, the handcuff to Tony Pollard, being rostered in about 10% of leagues. Kendre Miller being rostered in 21% 21% of leagues. And last but not least, Jaden Reed and Marvin Mims, who are both being rostered in about 40% of leagues. Now, if you guys did enjoy this video, go ahead and hit that like button. It is the best free way to show our channel some support. So I would appreciate each and every one of you who watched this video and had something that you could take away from it to hit that button for us. Also, if you want more content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell to make sure you never miss a video. And last but not least, if you want to talk fantasy football with us 24/7, 365, waiver questions, trade questions, whatever it may be, go ahead and join my free Discord. That will be linked in the description as well. And like I said, it's free, so there's no risk in joining that. With all of that being said, I don't have anything else for you guys today. I will see you guys on the next video, but until then, peace out.